Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Clarity English Podcast, your relaxed, friendly place to learn real English through everyday conversations. I am Emma.
And I am Mike, and before we start today, I need to say something.
Go ahead.
I need to say the topic today is going to make me emotional.
We have not even said what it is yet.
I can feel it. Something in the room is telling me.
What is telling you?
My eyes, they are already tired. They always know.
Well, since your eyes already know, today we're talking about sleep.
I knew it. I knew it. My eyes are never wrong.
But do not worry, this is not an episode about becoming a perfect sleeper overnight.
Good, because I was not ready for pressure on top of tiredness.
This is about real sleep, normal sleep, bad nights, good nights, lying awake at 2 in the morning thinking about something you said in 2014.
Very specific, very accurate.
We're going to talk about how sleep actually works in our lives, the habits around it, the things that help, the things that don't, and how to talk about all of it naturally in English.
I like this because sleep is something everyone does, but most people don't talk about it well. They just say, I'm tired.
Exactly. And today, we're going to give you so much more than tired.
Before we begin, this episode is perfect for B1 and B2 learners. If you are A2, stay with us anyway. You don't need to understand every word. Follow the main ideas, enjoy the conversation, and repeat the sentences you like.
And stay until the end, because later we have our Say It Better section, where we take simple sentences about sleep and make them sound more natural.
For example, instead of saying, my sleep was bad, you can say, I had a restless night. Much more natural.
Or instead of saying, I couldn't sleep, you can say, I was lying awake for hours.
Better English for a very human experience. Let us begin. I want to ask you something honestly.
Go ahead.
How did you sleep last night?
Honestly, not great. I woke up at 3 in the morning and just lay there for about an hour.
What were you thinking about?
That's the strange part. Nothing important. My brain just decided, this is a good time to be awake. Let's review some old memories.
Your brain called a meeting at 3 in the morning.
A meeting I did not schedule and did not want.
I know that meeting. Mine usually happens around 2:30.
What do you think about?
Everything and nothing. Did I reply to that email? What was the name of that film from years ago? Could I have said something better in a conversation from last Tuesday?
The brain finds things to worry about that have no deadline and no solution at 3 in the morning.
No deadline, no solution, full energy.
This is why sleep is such a complicated topic. It's not just about lying down and closing your eyes. It's about what your mind does when the world goes quiet.
And what your body needs to actually recover.
Recover, that is an important word today.
I think many people are living in a state of sleep debt. Sleep debt means you are regularly sleeping less than your body needs, and the tiredness slowly builds up.
Like financial debt, it accumulates.
Exactly. You miss 1 hour on Monday, then 2 hours on Wednesday, and by Friday, you feel like a completely different person.
A slower, foggier, less patient person.
I become a different version of myself when I'm sleep deprived.
Sleep deprived means not getting enough sleep.
Yes, and the version of me that's sleep deprived is not a version I enjoy. He's irritable, he makes poor decisions, he puts the milk in the cupboard and the keys in the fridge.
The keys in the fridge?
It has happened. I prefer not to confirm how recently.
That is a sign of real sleep deprivation, when small tasks become genuinely difficult.
And the strange thing is, when you're that tired, you often don't realize how tired you are.
You think you're functioning normally.
You think you're fine, and then someone asks you a simple question and you stand there and the answer doesn't come.
Like your brain is loading, 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 still loading.
Please wait, we are experiencing delays.
And this is why sleep is not a luxury. It's maintenance, like charging your phone.
If you don't charge your phone, it stops working. And if you don't sleep properly, the same thing happens to you slowly.
And yet, most people treat sleep as the last thing, the thing they do after everything else is finished.
I finish work, I do the things I want to do, and then at midnight or 1 in the morning I think, oh yes, I should probably sleep now.
And then you wonder why you're tired by Tuesday. Let's talk about sleep quality, because I think a lot of people focus on the number of hours, 8 hours, 7 hours, and they forget that the quality of those hours matters just as much.
What do you mean by quality?
Well, you can spend 8 hours in bed and still feel exhausted in the morning if the sleep was fragmented.
Fragmented. What does that mean?
Fragmented means broken into pieces. You sleep for a while, then wake up, then sleep again, then wake up again. The sleep is not continuous.
Like a film that keeps pausing.
Exactly. You're watching, but you're missing pieces. And at the end, you don't feel like you really watched the whole thing.
I have nights like that. I think I slept, but in the morning I feel like I was just lying there.
That's fragmented sleep, and it can happen for many reasons. Noise, light, an uncomfortable bed, a phone nearby.
The phone.
The phone is very important in this conversation.
Tell me.
So, many people use their phone right before bed. Scrolling, watching, reading, and there are two problems with this.
Say them.
First, the light from the screen signals to your brain that it is daytime, and your brain responds by staying alert, staying awake.
So your brain is deceived. It thinks it is still day.
Deceived, exactly. And the second problem, the content. When you scroll through things before bed, news, social media, messages, your brain gets stimulated. It gets activated.
When it should be winding down.
Winding down means gradually becoming calmer and quieter, preparing for rest.
And instead of winding down, you are reading something alarming, and now your brain is awake and thinking.
Your brain cannot tell the difference between a real alarm and a stressful notification on a screen.
Both feel urgent.
Both activate the same response, and that response is the opposite of sleep.
So the phone is basically an enemy of sleep.
At a certain hour, yes. And I am not saying this to judge anyone. I do it too.
Me too. I know the phone is bad for my sleep, and I still pick it up at 11:30.
And then at 12:30, you think, why am I still awake?
And then you pick up the phone to check the time, and then you are scrolling again.
The cycle.
A very familiar cycle.
Can I tell you something that actually helped me?
Please.
I started charging my phone outside the bedroom.
Oh, that is a big step.
At first, it felt very strange, like leaving a part of myself in another room.
Your phone is practically an organ at this point.
It felt that way. But after about a week, something changed.
What changed?
I started falling asleep faster and staying asleep longer because there was nothing pulling at my attention, nothing pinging or lighting up.
The bedroom became a quieter place.
Exactly. And I started reading before bed instead, an actual book.
A physical book with pages?
With pages, I know, very old-fashioned.
Did it help?
I usually fall asleep within 20 minutes now, which never used to happen.
Because reading a book is calming but not stimulating in the same way.
Right. Your eyes get tired, the pace is slower, your brain settles into the story and gradually stops racing.
I tried this once. I read for about 10 minutes, and then I woke up 2 hours later with the book on my face.
That is a success.
It felt like a success.
That is your body saying, this is the environment I needed, and I found sleep quickly.
Maybe I should try the phone thing properly.
Start small, maybe just put it face down, then across the room, then outside the door.
A gradual process.
Like most good habits, you don't change everything at once. You shift things slowly until the new way feels normal.
What about the mornings? Because I find mornings almost as difficult as bad nights.
Tell me.
Even when I sleep a reasonable number of hours, waking up is hard.
Are you a natural morning person or a natural night person?
I'm a natural afternoon person. My best hours are from about 2 to 5 in the afternoon.
Unfortunately, most of life happens before 2.
Very unfortunate design.
There's actually a word for your natural sleep timing. Chronotype.
Chronotype, that's a good word.
Your chronotype is your natural tendency to feel sleepy or awake at certain times of the day. Some people are early chronotypes. They wake up easily, they're alert in the morning. Others are late chronotypes. They function better later in the day.
So when people say, just wake up earlier and you'll be productive, they're not accounting for the fact that everyone is different.
Right. For some people, waking up earlier means being awake, but not actually functioning.
Present, but absent.
Exactly. Your eyes are open, your body is upright, but your brain is still searching for its password.
Please enter your PIN to continue with your day.
Incorrect PIN. Please wait.
So what do you actually do in the morning?
I try not to make any important decisions in the first 30 minutes after waking up.
Really?
Your brain needs time to reach full alertness. That transition from sleep to being fully awake takes time.
And if you rush it, you start the day feeling slightly wrong.
Slightly wrong, yes. Off balance, like your whole morning has a small tilt to it.
I know that tilt.
So I drink water, I sit quietly for a few minutes, I don't check my phone immediately, and slowly the morning becomes manageable.
That sounds almost peaceful.
It took time to get there, but now it's a habit. And habits are what make anything sustainable. And what about naps? Are you a nap person?
I want to be a nap person, but I don't think I know how to nap correctly.
What happens when you try?
I lie down, I think 20 minutes, just 20 minutes, and then I wake up 2 hours later completely confused about what year it is.
The nap that became a life decision.
I have woken up from naps not knowing if it was the same day.
There's actually something called sleep inertia. Sleep inertia is that groggy, disoriented feeling you get when you wake up from a deep sleep in the middle of the day.
That's exactly what happens to me.
It happens when the nap goes too long and you enter a deeper stage of sleep. Then waking up is jarring because your body was not ready to come back.
So the advice is keep naps short?
Around 10 to 20 minutes is often recommended, short enough to refresh you, but not long enough to pull you into deep sleep.
10 minutes sounds like barely anything.
But even 10 minutes of genuine rest can change your afternoon completely.
I should try the short nap, the 20-minute version, with an alarm this time.
The alarm is the key.
The alarm I ignored last time. Very important step.
Okay, I think it is time for our word tour. This is where we take 6 useful words from today and practice them properly.
Slow and clear, with examples.
Our first word, sleep debt.
Sleep debt.
Sleep debt means the tiredness that builds up when you regularly sleep less than your body needs.
For example, I have built up a lot of sleep debt this week. By Friday, I always feel exhausted.
Or, I spent the weekend sleeping to pay off my sleep debt. You can use it just like financial debt.
Our second word, sleep deprived.
Sleep deprived.
Sleep deprived means not getting enough sleep, especially over a period of time.
For example, I was so sleep deprived by Thursday that I put my keys in the fridge.
Or sleep-deprived people often feel irritable and find it hard to concentrate.
Third word, fragmented.
Fragmented.
Fragmented means broken into pieces. For sleep, it means your sleep was not continuous. You kept waking up.
For example, I had a fragmented night. I woke up 4 times and never felt fully rested.
Or fragmented sleep can leave you feeling just as tired as no sleep at all.
Fourth word, winding down.
Winding down.
To wind down means to gradually become calmer and quieter, to prepare your body and mind for rest.
For example, I need about an hour to wind down before I can sleep properly.
Or reading a book at night helps me wind down much better than watching television.
Fifth word, chronotype.
Chronotype.
Your chronotype is your natural tendency to feel awake or sleepy at certain times of the day.
For example, my chronotype is late, so I do my best work in the afternoon.
Or understanding your chronotype can help you plan your day more effectively.
And our sixth word, sleep inertia.
Sleep inertia.
Sleep inertia is the groggy, disoriented feeling you get when you wake up from a deep sleep.
For example, I woke up from a long nap and felt terrible. That is sleep inertia.
Or to avoid sleep inertia, try to keep afternoon naps under 20 minutes.
6 words: sleep debt, sleep deprived, fragmented, winding down, chronotype, sleep inertia.
Try using one in your next English conversation about tiredness or rest.
And now, say it better We take simple sentences and make them more natural.
Let's do it.
First sentence, my sleep was bad.
Better version, I had a restless night, or I didn't sleep well at all.
Restless means you kept moving and couldn't settle, much more specific and natural.
Next, I couldn't sleep.
Better version, I was lying awake for hours, or I just couldn't drift off.
Drift off means to fall asleep gradually, a very natural phrase.
Next, I'm very tired.
Better version, I'm exhausted, or I'm running on empty today.
Running on empty means you have almost no energy left, like a car almost out of fuel.
Next, I slept for a short time in the afternoon.
Better version, I had a quick nap, or I managed to catch a short nap after lunch.
Catch a nap is very natural in everyday English.
Next, I wake up many times in the night.
Better version, I have a really fragmented sleep, or I keep waking up throughout the night.
Both sound much more fluent and specific.
And one more, I can't sleep because I'm thinking too much.
Better version, my mind won't switch off, or I keep overthinking at night and it ruins my sleep.
Switch off is perfect here, like turning off a light, except the light in your brain refuses to cooperate.
6 sentences, all more natural. All things you can use tonight if you can't sleep and need to describe it tomorrow.
Before we finish, what's one thing you want our listeners to remember from today?
That sleep is not laziness. Resting is not wasting time. Your body is doing serious work when you sleep, repairing, processing, preparing.
It's maintenance, not indulgence.
And if you've been skipping sleep to be more productive, you might actually be less productive because of it.
Sleep is part of the work, not the break from it.
And for our English learners, sleep is also a wonderful topic for conversation. Everyone has a sleep story. Everyone has had a bad night or a strange dream, or a moment of lying awake wondering about something completely unnecessary.
These shared experiences make conversations feel real. When you can describe your own sleep honestly in natural English, the conversation comes alive.
So now we want to hear from you. Leave a comment. Tell us, how do you sleep? Are you an early chronotype or a late one? Do you have a wind-down routine? Have you ever had a nap that became a life decision?
Try to use one of the words from the word tour in your answer.
We read every single comment, and your story might help someone else feel less alone in their tired Tuesday.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today.
Keep learning, keep resting, and take care of yourself, including at night.
See you in the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye!